They don't just brew great beer. They're working on building a better community, one pint at a time. Today we're talking growth, giving back, and the legacy of Indeed Brewing. Let's dive in.
Recording.
Cool.
Hey Ryan, how are you doing today?
Pretty darn good. Yeah,
Awesome.
we got a lot of snow up here this past weekend, so um, you know, dealing with that. I guess you guys did too, didn't you? You guys get to hard.
Oh yeah. We got close to a foot of snow, and it's still snowing right now, actually. But
Damn.
staying inside, and I'm glad to have you on.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, Ryan.
Yeah, so I am let's see, I've worked at Indeed for um 11 years now, or coming on 12 years now, actually. Um, and I started in the back, pack tech and putting pack techs on top of cans. So I started in the packaging line, worked for cash and short fills. Um, and that was back when Indeed was I think we were the 15th brewery in the state at the time of
Wow.
Minnesota. And now there's, I think, over 200 or 190 or something.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, so then from there, I kind of did some tap room stuff. I had worked in food and drink before. So worked in the tap room for a while and bartended and bar backed and managed that. And then I did sales. So worked in the sales world for probably 5 or 6 years here. Um, and then the last few years, I took over as CEO for the one of the founding owners that had been here for the whole time. Obviously, kind of took over for him. I guess it was about 2 years ago now, so 2023, late 2023. And so yeah, I've been trying to um, figure out how to run a brewery in the modern world.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What brought you to Indeed specifically? Why'd you choose Indeed?
Um, Yeah, I think there was kind of an energy around Minneapolis at the time of some of the smaller kind of breweries starting that was a new thing. Um, and I was definitely interested in the making of stuff, right? So I did food and stuff, and I was definitely interested in the concept of making the thing that you get to share with people. And breweries were kind of the new thing back then. Um, and I think, yeah, what kept me around was the fact that we've always been down to try new stuff, and we've always been down to um, like fix the problems, right? Like when we see a thing that's not working, how do you fix it? Or when we have an idea, how do you make it happen? And that's just a really energetic thing to be a part of. And not all businesses are like that, not all small businesses, not all breweries are like that. So, yeah, it's been a fun kind of thing for me to try to steward onward as well into this
Yeah.
next kind of like the next generation of breweries, which is, I mean, shit, we're like 13 years old as a brewery is like a dinosaur. It's like 100 years old in dog years or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, now who are we? It's like we gotta change who we are every couple of years to make sure that we're still the same, kind of has the same energy as we've always had.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I mean you gotta work on staying fresh, so
I know. Yeah, totally. It's what do I say? I say green you grow, ripe you rot. Ripe you rot,
Mhm.
green you grow. It's like as soon as you think you've got it figured out, you're ripe, you start to rot. So you got to make sure to continue putting yourself in a learning scenario.
Gotcha. Yeah, I hadn't heard that before. That's a interesting expression. I agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't remember where it's from. It's like I think it's from some punk band that I listened to
Huh.
said it, but now it's stuck in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. How would you describe your brewery in one sentence to someone who hasn't been there before?
Oh man. Um, I think I would say. Um, Kind of like a constantly evolving classic take as far as the tap rooms. Um, it's wood paneled, there's a wood bar, it's old school. We pour them in awesome glasses and awesome pours, but we kind of do weird shit all the time and fuck stuff up a lot too. So it's kind of like, I would say, like a classic space, but extremely inventive and if you know uh inventive and modern beers and experiences, something
Nice.
like that. And that's the tap rooms I'm talking about,
Yeah.
um, because we also have, and in 2019 we opened a tap room in Milwaukee as well, so
Mhm.
we have a small pilot system down there too. They're similar but different, but I think that line would probably stick for both of them.
Okay. Yeah, I was just reading about the Milwaukee tap room. That's pretty cool that you guys are expanding like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. We were able to, it's a smaller system down there, a 10 barrel.
Hmm.
And so we get to do a lot of R&D stuff down there. And then the tap room is a really cool, it's different than here. So it's a very cool big space in Walker's Point, which is a super cool neighborhood. Um, and the goal was to kind of like, we felt really kindred spirits with Milwaukee as far as Minneapolis did. And so we just felt like we wanted to like hang out and like get experiences down there, and Minnesota and Wisconsin are super connected in a lot of ways, so it was a natural um, kind of evolution for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. So you guys having been established for, you said 13 years now, like that's pretty well established. That's like
Yeah.
the earlier days of breweries, especially for Minneapolis, like you were saying. Do you have like a lot of regulars that come in, a lot of repeat customers, and
Oh yeah.
what draws them there consistently?
Yeah, well, so I think in Milwaukee we have a lot more regulars that like are several times a week. I think it's in a there's not a lot of places like it down there, especially in Walker's Point. There's a lot of
Mhm.
bars, there's a lot of restaurants, but there aren't a lot of places that are kind of that third space, relaxed but kind of elevated type of drink, for beer. So I
Yeah.
think that's what draws those people. Um, in Minneapolis, we definitely have regulars, but at this point, it's like they're on a they're there every month or they're there every year. Like we
Yeah.
have a lot of time. I think the thing that we've always said is like the experience of a tap room is you can have the best beer in the world. And I do think we have, as good a beer as possible and
Mhm.
very, very, very good beer. But the experience is really what people are paying for because you can get really good beer at a liquor store. You can get really good beer at a bar. Give me a High Life in a bottle. It's fucking delicious no matter where I'm drinking it.
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm going to spend money at a tap room, it's because of the experience. And so I think people come back to our tap room. I think our service is, I think it's some of the best service that I've ever seen in a tap room. And it's not easy, but we're talking perfect pours, the perfect glassware, bars perfectly clean, the lights are, exactly where you want them to be. The music isn't too
Mhm.
loud, but it's not too soft. Um, I think a lot of that stuff goes, it's hard to accomplish, but it seems simple when it's right. And you're just like, man, I want to go there again.
Oh yeah.
Um, and so I think the fundamentals really of like a tap room and a place that you want to drink beer. I think again, it's hard work, but we've done a good job at both tap rooms, I think. Executing every day on that it definitely feels different than other tap rooms. And I think that keeps people coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it looks like you guys have like a pretty cool venue there as well. I was looking at some pictures and stuff, and you got the rooftop bar, and
Yep.
it's a really
Yeah.
cool
So we have the
place.
rooftop in Milwaukee across the street, and like kind of a really tall building, very cool. And then we throw street parties down there, and in Minneapolis, we throw shows off of a loading dock, or we throw parties in our parking lot.
Oh,
Um, yeah, we kind of do. It's kind of the whole range. You have just when it's snowy out, you got your long wooden bar you can hole up at, or when it's nice out, we're going to throw parties with music and with vendors and with food, and
yeah.
so we kind of run the whole gamut.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was actually gonna ask something about that next. Do you have any like regular events that you're bringing the community together? Is that
Oh yeah, for sure. So Whirly Gig in Minneapolis is our spring festival, and that's during Art Whirl, which is a neighborhood art event.
hmm.
Um, and that is every year, third weekend in May. It's freaking awesome. 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's huge. There's probably 30 or 40,000 people that are coming through our
Oh
doors.
wow.
Um, And so it's free music, there's food, right? There's like tons of beer, there's games, there's all types of shit. It's crazy. Tons of art. Um, and then in Milwaukee, we do the lowdown every fall. So that's kind of our fall event. And we did that a few months ago here. And it was awesome. The same thing on the street, throw the party. Um, as far as community stuff, in both tap rooms, we do it's called Indeed We Can. And so that is basically we on Tuesdays in Milwaukee and Wednesdays in Minneapolis, we give the proceeds to a nonprofit. So we invite the nonprofit in. We kind of give them the space so they'll have fun. They'll do trivia or they'll do they'll throw some sort of event. And then all of the beers and merch and everything sold, the proceeds go to those nonprofits. And those nonprofits, they're chosen by all the employees here. And so they're usually pretty local. They're places that matter to like the people that work at Indeed, which has always been our goal
Yeah.
as far as what community is. Like ultimately that is our community, right? It's like the people that work for us and the people that come to our tap rooms.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's always been a pretty important thing to us.
That's awesome. Yeah, what a great way to give back. That's really great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So another community type question. How family friendly is your space? Do you guys make accommodations for different age groups, or is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, we definitely do. I've been noticing more and more of that trend right at the tap rooms. Like you'll see like whole play areas now. We we do not have any like actual play areas, but we do, especially during the winter or in the summer, sorry, outside. In Minneapolis, we have like several kind of like games that are tailor made for the kids, right?
Oh, cool.
And kind of like spaces that we kind of curate with the tables and how we set them up to like kind of be um they work well, right, to kind of station, right? You might have like
Hmm.
your food and your drink at the table and your kids might be playing over in the corner. And we have a basketball hoop up here and stuff like that that kids like have some fun with. Um and I think we've always been pretty welcoming in that way. But it's a tough balance too, where it's like you don't want kids to overtake the tap room either.
Hmm.
Um, and so how do you kind of make sure it's a space for everyone?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we definitely do, all types of, we have different games and stuff laid out for the kiddos. Um, and for the parents to, have a place to come and get a beer and let their kids run around for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's good that you guys have that. Um, so getting into some practical information, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a policy on like large groups or private events?
Well, yeah, so we have private event spaces in both tap rooms.
Hmm.
In Minneapolis, we kind of have a whole nother tap room. Actually, it's a separate tap room called the Ox that can do private events really easily. And in Minneapolis, or in Milwaukee, we have the Barrel Room, so it's kind of in the back. Both of those spaces are available for rent. We try to keep the price pretty low. Like the goal is just to have people in here and enjoying the space.
Hmm.
Um, and then big groups. Like we have a huge table in Minneapolis that like you can definitely call ahead and ask for it to kind of be reserved. Like sometimes it's harder than others, but same in Milwaukee, like we'll take reservations if a big group wants to come in and say they're coming in. We have a few options for that. So we're definitely um like big group and private event friendly at both tap rooms.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And then if someone's coming from out of town, is there any
Yeah.
practical information they should know about like parking or reservations or
Um
anything?
So we have free parking in Minneapolis, in our parking lot. It can get validated, and in Milwaukee we do like a validation and some kind of cheap parking in the parking lot across the street. Um, but there is kind of free street parking at both places too. Um, and so as far as if you're coming in, um, besides that, I mean, no, I would say we're a pretty standard tap room. Um, I don't know what else would be. We open at like 2, I think, in Milwaukee and 3 in Minneapolis.
Gotcha.
Um, so yeah.
Good to know. All right, so I got some questions that I mean, these are the fun questions. So
Yeah.
walk me through your core lineup of beers. What styles do you always have available, and why are they always available?
Yeah. So our best-selling beer is actually called it's Pistachio Cream Ale.
Really?
So it's a fascinating beer that has kind of surprised us all over many years. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of our core. It's one of our core beers. Flavor Wave IPA, obviously, like every brewery will have an IPA in their core lineup.
Hmm.
Ours is it's kind of slightly a hazy, juicy, but not, it's not all the way. And there's a little bit of bitterness, but it uses the kind of Sultana and Mosaic and Citrus and newer hops, Simcoes. So um, I would say it's a delicious kind of like fruity tropical IPA.
Hmm.
Um, we have a West Coast Pale Ale, Day Tripper. That was our first beer we ever made. That's year round. Kind of bitter, but low ABV, super delicious. And Then we have Mexican Honey and Mexican Honey Light. So those two beers are Mexican Honey is an imperial lager. Made with orange blossom honey from Mexico. It's
Oh, wow.
delicious, and it's an 8% lager, so it's up there. And then we have a 5% beer called Mexican Honey Light. It's kind of a lighter version of that,
Mhm.
almost like a Vienna with a little kind of twist to it. And I think that's most of our year-round beers, and then a couple of our core seasonals um, would be Bright Side in the summer. That's a lemon and sea salt beer. Um, that is super delicious. And then in the winter, Moon Dance is a stout of ours. And so, um, yeah, we I think those there's a bunch of other beers, obviously, but those are kind of our core: Pistachio Cream Ale, Flavor Wave IPA, uh, Mexican Honey Light, and Day Tripper.
That's
Yep.
awesome. Yeah, the that pistachio cream ale, that sounds like really good to me actually. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of those more like less traditional beers, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, that sounds
The
great.
weirdos. Yeah, we are too. We like the weirdo beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard cream ale, but then we twist it and bring the pistachio world. And it's been a great, if people love it. Yeah, it's one of our best selling beers. So it's been fun to see that kind of weird, strange beer become a very popular one.
Yeah. That's one of those things that brings me to breweries. Like on top of experience is also just like I want to try
Yep.
something I heard about. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say your most popular beer overall is, like a single most popular one?
Um, I mean, pistachio definitely. I think it's become the beer that everyone knows
Yeah.
from us, or a lot of people do. Mexican honey it's been around for a long time, and it's won some medals at GABF and stuff,
Hmm.
and World Beer Cup and Euro Beer Star. And so
Oh.
there is like I think it's probably almost 10 years that it's been a beer, Mexican honey. So I think
Mhm.
that's probably one of our most popular. Like if you just think about how many people have drank it over the years, that's probably one of the ones that I would say is quote unquote most popular.
Yeah. It sounds like it deserves it. It sounds
Yeah, it
tasty.
does. Yeah, it's a delicious, it's a very special beer. It's new, or just, it's yeah, it's interesting. The honey component's super interesting. It's 8%.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's a cool beer.
Cool. What's the most unique or experimental beer that you guys have created?
Oh man, we've done so many fucking dumb things. Um, so one of our beers we still make every year is called LSD, and it's lavender, sunflower honey, and dates. And that beer is pretty weird. So it's like a Belgian kind of weird malty Belgian beer that then we put lavender, honey, and then dates in it. And that's definitely experimental and has won, we've won some awards for that one. Um, what else is experimental or weird that I mean we've done so much shit. Let me think back. We did like a beer called Hot Box that was a smoked pepper porter. So it's
Oh
like
wow.
spicy and smoky and a porter. It wasn't that good, but we tried it.
Yeah, it's worth trying.
Um um yeah, we've done lots of I'm trying to even think some of the other. We have some barrel aged sours, which I guess aren't like wild or stuff, but they're hard, right? They're hard to do and they're kind of like hard to manage.
Hmm.
But cherry dust, which is it's a barrel aged red with Door County cherries. Um, that's a very special beer. That's a little more on the weird side, I'd say.
Hmm. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I love it when breweries are experimental with that kind of stuff. So it sounds like you
yeah,
guys got a lot of that going on.
yeah. I think it's like you kind of have to like as a brewery. It's like your whole. I don't know. It's like
How can you
what are we
differentiate,
doing?
right? That's
Yeah, what are we doing if we're not fucking around a little bit?
yeah. That's pretty cool. Um, how do you source your ingredients? Do you have any like partnerships around the area or
Oh, yeah, I mean, for sure. We've been in it long enough now where we kind of had made some pretty good relationships. We actually one really cool relationship we have is a lot of our malt actually comes from Germany. So we get it from Bamberg. It comes from Bamberger, which
Oh,
is an
cool.
extremely old maltster, um, one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of our malt, even a lot of the malt that we use in our IPAs and stuff. Um, we use Bamberger as our pale. So that was, they don't just like sell to many breweries in America, or like that's not you don't
Mhm.
just like buy that off of the market. So we actually met them many years ago at a trade show in Munich,
Wow.
and kind of like slowly built a relationship and so that's probably the coolest. It's just access. It's like we don't have access to that good of malt. I mean, the malt in America is good, but the maltster is really what kind of takes it to the next level, and they
Yeah.
obviously have hundreds of more years experience.
Yeah.
And so being able to have some of the best malt in the world for a brewery our size is pretty cool. And that's a cool relationship that
Wow.
we've been able to forge.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like they're the OGs.
Yeah, they are totally. They're like, "Who is this little American brewery like asking for malt?"
Oh, that's great. So you kind of already touched on this with your seasonal beers, but are there any other limited releases that people should be watching out for or anything new and upcoming?
Um, Seasonals coming up here. So, um, yeah, Moondance is out right now, and that's been pretty popular.
Hmm.
Um, Early next year, we will be releasing a light lager. So it's kind of that American light lager concept.
Hmm.
We're going to release one in 16-ounce cans early next year.
Oh,
And so we'll have to reach out once we have some more information on that. Um, no, I mean, so this is when a lot of our tap rooms do R&D stuff. So if you're near the tap rooms, like we're R&Ding a lot of recipes that will come out next year, right? And we might not name them the same thing, but if you're in their tap rooms right now, you'll probably find two or three things on that it's maybe the first or second batch of something we're trying out.
mhm.
Um, and this is kind of the time of year that we can do that because we have extra time in the brew schedule.
Mhm.
Um, and so there's a couple IPAs that we're making right now that are really interesting. Um, there's that light lager we're doing an R&D batch on. Um, yeah, there's some sours. So yeah, there's definitely a lot on at the tap room right now that are worth coming and checking out.
Cool. Sounds great. Um, so kind of last question, I guess, on the beer things. To someone new to craft beer, if they were to come to your brewery, which of your beers would you recommend as kind of like an introduction?
Um, I mean, honestly, I would still kind of go with that pistachio cream ale. It's low bitterness. It's interesting, meaning like it's something new, but
Hmm.
it's not very hard on the palate.
Yeah.
I always used to ask as a bartender if people like either quote unquote didn't like beer or new to craft beer or whatever. I would always ask them what type of drinks they like to drink. And
Hmm.
because that would kind of tell me what type of um what type of beer are they into, right? So if they say, "Oh, I like wine and I like light, like I like rosé and white wine," I'm like, "Okay, well they're gonna like acidity probably. They're gonna be okay with carbonation, and so I might choose a beer that fits that." Or if they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I normally drink whiskey or something, and whiskey and cokes," or it's just
Hmm.
like I try to always think about what are the things they like about the beverages that they normally drink, and then find a beer that hits that, because we have so
Yeah.
many different beers. We have sour beers, dark beers, bitter beers, hoppy beers, sweet beers, seltzers, right? So it's like we have something for you for sure. Like if you come in and it's your first time having a craft beer, like we'll have something that you'll like.
Yeah.
And we do free samples, obviously, because the point is for people to actually want to like what they're drinking. And so,
Yeah. So they get to find what they like. Oh, that's pretty cool.
right,
Yeah. Um, yeah, it sounds like you got a little something for everybody. That's great.
for sure. Yeah, we have something for everyone, no question about it.
So what's something about your brewery that most visitors should know but usually don't?
Oh man, they should know that. I mean, I think a lot of people don't know that we have a place in the other city. So if you're in Milwaukee, a lot of people do not know that we have a place in Minneapolis.
Mhm.
And a lot of people in Minneapolis don't know that we have a tap room in Milwaukee. Um, and so I think that would be something that um, they should know, because a lot of times it's like we're able to do different scale things and we're inspired by different stuff because we have those two spots.
Yeah.
Um, and then um, the Minneapolis, the other thing is like you can't see where we brew from the tap room. Like a lot of tap
Mhm.
rooms you can see, right, their brew house or whatever. You can't see. And so in Minneapolis, the thing that they should know is that we make every single thing like right behind the doors of the tap room in
Gotcha.
Minneapolis. And then most people would be very surprised to know that. Because it kind of feels like it wouldn't be big enough back there, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and so, yeah, I would say that like everything you're drinking in Minneapolis was made like a few feet from where you're sitting.
Wow.
And obviously, some tap rooms, that's true, but in Minneapolis, it's harder to see that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so kind of just looking around the area that you guys are in, how would you describe the Minneapolis craft beer scene and what makes it so special?
Uh, we have a very like robust craft beer scene in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities beyond, kind of.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, I think what makes it special, there's kind of two things. One, we have kind of a weird beer law history, right? Like there's still no beer in grocery stores in Minnesota.
Really?
Um, and you couldn't even have a tap room legally until 2012. And
Wow.
so I think what that does is it kind of makes for like an interesting, we're kind of insular, right? Where we like, it's like we're on an island up here in a lot of ways. We're both far away from people.
Yeah.
Like we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. Uh, but then also because like it's been a relatively new, let's say 15-year-old industry for tap rooms,
Hmm.
that it's all a relatively new and fresh industry up here, which I think just creates a really cool kind of collaborative, very fresh, very like interesting styles and interesting like breweries. Um, so I think that is, yeah, and Minneapolis, it's a great town. It's busy as hell, and there's lots of people here, so there's plenty of time and space for people to try beer. But um, I think the city, it has like an interesting quality because of that. Sometimes I think the insularity is bad, right? Like sometimes it's like I wish that we would not just only look at what our neighbors are doing, right? But I think there
Hmm.
are some good qualities that come along with kind of being on your own and kind of knowing that you're not competing with Chicago or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like we're up here by ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, we're kind of doing it for ourselves. So um, that I think it creates an interesting quality.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I've heard Chicago's just crazy with a lot of that stuff. So
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's yeah, it's Chicago. It's huge. It makes sense.
um what trends are you seeing in craft beer and how do you guys kind of respond to that?
Um, oh man, I mean, I think the overall kind of, let's say, industry trend is a lot less drinking, right? Like you'll read a lot about that. There's less drinking of beer, less often.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think that to me is something that as an industry we have to figure out. For us, a lot of what we're doing in that way is either programming and events, right? Where we're trying to give people reasons to come to the tap room.
Hmm.
uh Make sure we have a lot of different styles of products. That's NA beer, that's seltzers, sour beers, dark beers, right? So I think really thinking about diversity
Yeah.
of product. um and then I think there's some trends uh towards the light lager stuff. um and it's been a few years. And so I think everyone kind of has to figure that out for themselves as far as their brand and whether or not they are a light lager brand. And if so, how? How do they
Hmm.
talk about it? How do you do it? And what does it taste like? I think a lot of places just decided to, when they're like, let's make a light lager, and then they just do an adjunct lager and it's fine, but it's not really differentiated or it's not that delicious. And I
Hmm.
think craft beer, like we're supposed to be making shit like taste really good.
Yeah.
And so the light lager, like how we're gonna take it is we're definitely caring about the beer, like it's gonna be the best tasting one up here. And then we're really thinking about the brand and how are we talking about it? How are we packaging it? How are we communicating it? Um, I think if you're going to do the light lager thing, you really got to make sure that it fits and that you have a really strong direction.
Yeah. Oh, that makes total sense. Yep. Um, and then this is kind of getting into the future and seasonal stuff. What is coming up that people should be excited about? Like the next big event.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's see. Winter time, next big event. I mean, in Minneapolis, we do these from scratch in the Ox, which is the Ox is our tap room, our other tap
Mhm.
room. Whether we do this from scratch series, which is the jazz, kind of like a jazz series on Tuesdays. Um, I just think it's extremely special and it's really, really cool and it's worth coming to.
Hmm.
It's free. It's just local players, but they're some of the best in town and it's really special.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
in Milwaukee, we just had our big Black Friday event that we throw a big bash down there for Black Friday and
Oh,
release a
yeah.
bottle. Um, I would say what is coming up? We do quite a bit of THC and NA beer stuff for dry January.
Okay.
And that's a long ways away now, but um, it's definitely worth looking at for both tap rooms. And we do just, we have a lot of different NA beers. We'll have a lot of THC stuff. I just think it's like a good fun time if you're imbibing in that type of thing or lack
Yeah.
of imbibing, I guess. That we try to put on a good show in January for that type of stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was meaning to ask a little bit about your THC beers.
Yeah.
Are those pretty popular? I saw them listed on your website.
Yeah, definitely. THC seltzers are, yeah, it's a big thing. Uh we were one of the first ones up here in Minnesota back in 2022, I think. Um and so we've we have a brand that's weird and uh makes sense for people. So
Mhm.
yeah, we definitely sell a lot of them. People love getting high. It's definitely you know, it's a big market
Yeah.
that we've been excited to try to kind of be leaders in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they're fun. They're awesome. We love them. They're a great alternative, right, to that kind of diversity of drink thing I was talking
Yeah.
about earlier. It's highlighted and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah. Like you said, something for everyone. That's pretty
Right.
cool too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone could only try three things at your brewery, I always like to ask this question. What would you recommend for those top three things?
Um,
Whether it's, food or beers
yeah.
or what would it be?
No, it's beers.
Okay.
Um, I would say so I do think you try the pistachio cream ale. I think you try the thing that is the most popular, whether or not you like it, right?
Hmm.
Um, we have a pills that we have been trying to perfect for probably 7 years, right? Slowly tweaking German style, or it's German inspired. Um, it's kind of become its own little R American Pilsner, to be honest, but
Hmm.
it's called Northeast Pills up in Minneapolis. Um, and it's really delicious, and especially if you like beer and you like Pilsners, I think it's an extremely good one.
Hmm.
Um, and then I would probably do the Mexican honey. I just think
Yeah.
8%. It's a fascinating beer. It's really special. The ingredient kind of from northern Mexico is it's a really cool ingredient, and we've been able to highlight it, but also make it a really delicious beer. Um, and it's kind of like, what are you known for, right? Like that question. And
Hmm.
I think those would be that would kind of get you at least 70% of the way there, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. And then a couple of closing questions for you. What's the
Yeah.
best way for people to stay connected with what you guys are doing?
Um, I mean, the whole you know, like social media thing, obviously, right?
Hmm.
I would say our email list, our email list is we're kind of like reinvested in that a little bit as far as like how we're talking to people and how often and different chains that you can sign up for, right? If you want to know about events or if you want to know about releases or you can know about it all, but also you don't have to get inundated with every email, right? So
Hmm.
um I think that's probably a pretty good way between social and our email list. I think you'll capture most of the stuff.
Cool. Sounds good. And then,
Awesome.
do you have any final thoughts or messages for people who would be considering a visit?
Um, Definitely. I mean, yeah, I think support your local brewery.
Yeah.
Support the place that makes things. Um, so definitely go and visit. Like if you're thinking about visiting, you should definitely visit. Um, yeah, it's like people think that breweries are just like busy as hell all the time, and that might have been true 10 years ago, but it's not, right? Like all the time.
Mhm.
And I think that like the one message would just be like, if you're thinking about it, just go do it.
Yeah.
Grab a round of beers. It means a lot. So, yeah,
Yeah. Well, that sounds great. Thank you, Ryan, so much for taking the time.
awesome. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the questions, and yeah, reach out if you have other questions, or
Yeah.
and we'll reach out when we have stuff as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you so
Awesome.
much. Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it for today. Be sure to check out some of our other exclusive interviews with the people from the best breweries in the Midwest. Bye now.